Mercedes have been caught sandbagging during pre-season testing out in Bahrain. Now, throughout the 3 days of testing at the Bahrain International Circuit, it seemed Mercedes were a long way off the outright pace of Red Bull's RB19 over a single lap as well as a race distance. And instead of chasing the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari, they seemed to be having to look over their shoulders at the likes of Alpine and Aston Martin in particular. But what if I was to tell you there was a particular reason behind that? Well, in this very video, we're going to be going over exactly what it was they were doing to hide their ultimate pace and why at this weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix, the opening race of the season, they should be a lot closer to the likes of Red Bull and Ferrari. The Mercedes team are known to sandbag or to hide their true pace during pre-season testing. Apart from last year's pre-season test at Bahrain where they encountered the phenomenon known as porpoising. But business has resumed as usual this year with the team hiding their ultimate pace. And there's one particular reason behind that, and that is to do with the rear wing that they used throughout all 3 days of testing. Now, if we look at the Bahrain International Circuit as a whole, what sort of rear wing do you think would be the most appropriate to put on a Formula 1 car for both qualifying as well as a race distance? Would it be a low downforce rear wing, a medium downforce rear wing, or a high downforce rear wing? For the Bahrain International Circuit, you need a balance. You need to go for a medium downforce rear wing, so you get the best of both worlds essentially. Now, what Mercedes did during pre-season testing was they bolted on a high downforce rear wing. So extremely fast in the corners, but super slow on the straights. And so this is where the team were hiding their pace along the straights. And with 4 straights, 2 of which are quite reasonably long, you could be giving up on each of these straights, I would say maybe between 1/2 tenth to 2 tenths, which is a lot to be given up around the Bahrain International Circuit, but also a promising sign for the team, because even 2 to 3 tenths over a lap is going to help bring them much more into play over a race distance and in qualifying. Before we continue on with today's video, if you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing to the channel, as I'll be doing a competition once I reach 1,000 subscribers, where 3 lucky viewers will be getting teamwear from any of their favourite Formula 1 teams, so be on the lookout once we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. But what will happen to the Mercedes W14 at this weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix once they've fitted the correct configuration of rear wing? Well, I think for starters, this naturally is going to give them free lap time. How much lap time is very hard to say because we don't know how high they were running their engines for starters in comparison to other teams and engine manufacturers. So the gain in comparison to other teams could be quite small or it could be quite high. But of course they will naturally get an improvement in lap time from that of pre-season testing. A change from a high downforce rear wing to a medium downforce rear wing should be somewhere in the region of 5 to 10 kilometers an hour, so that's quite a considerable change and one which will bring them the lap time gains they need. But of course this is going to have a detrimental effect to them in the corners. They're no longer going to be as quick in the corners as they were with the higher downforce configuration of rear wing. But the balance and trade-off is going to be one which is a positive sign for the team. And as we all know, with the likes of the Ferrari engine rumoured to be able to use the higher engine modes that the team have at their disposal, this is going to obviously be important for the team moving forward. As I think, as we all know, all the teams were sandbagging to certain various degrees of level. So yeah, this weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix should be one with loads of interesting things happening in it and a few surprises if I was to be a betting man, which I am not. I think there's going to be a few shocks in the midfield and towards the back of the grid with certain teams in a position we might not have expected them. And at the front, it's going to be really interesting to see where Mercedes are in terms of how far off the ultimate lap times they are. So yeah, that's something to be looking out for. Right guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like, Subscribe if you're new, and any comments you have, of course, leave them down below. I'll catch you all in another Formula 1 video.